dramatic music for a dramatic episode of Not Another Three Putt.
Big stuff we got to cover.
You are not kidding. Big stuff. Deductibles, wind, hail, budgeting, all of this stuff. So we've talked ad nauseum, I think, for the last 2 years about these strange storms. I think the insurance world, you guys define these maybe as strong convective storms. Is that maybe the right classification?
Yeah, there's a wind event is thrown around, derecho. There's lots of words for it, but at the end of the day, it's just damage causing, pain inflicting, and stress inducing storms.
Derecho, I believe that's Spanish for the right.
That's right.
And if we have an izquierda, I think we're going to have a real big problem.
Not Spanish for it. That's correct. Just right.
I got to go back to Chris Farley and the El Nino thing. But yeah, we have. But it's funny, like how relevant this topic about deductibles has come up.
Yeah.
Before we hopped on, I mean, this was bus stop fodder here over in St. John this morning. Tell me, Adam, like you've written insurance for a long time. This deductible moving to this percentage of replacement cost has been relatively recent.
Yeah, I would say it started about a decade ago. Most insurance providers started moving to that, and they did this thing where the percent is of the replacement cost of your home, not market value, replacement cost, which we all know isn't the same thing. But they were doing it in an effort to keep premiums lower because forever it was what, $500 deductible, right?
Yep.
$1,000 deductible. Well, in order, on an ever depreciating asset, which is our money, that number kept getting lower, which means the premiums had to keep going up to keep up with that. So instead, they're saying, "Hey, let's just keep up with it. It's going to be a percentage," and they let it happen about a decade ago that you could opt to keep your lower deductible, but they would charge you more. But I think what's happened is inflation's taken kind of hold after COVID happened, and these houses that in people's minds will cost $500,000 to replace, not the case anymore, right? Now we're looking at in your neighborhood of around St. John, an $800,000 market value home that's 1.1 to rebuild, right? So all of a sudden, 1% of that, you're talking about 10 grand, and in most cases, a lot of people have gone to a 2% wind hail deductible instead of fire, smoke, water. So now you're talking about a $20,000 bill when that tree falls on the house. People aren't very happy about it, right? What are you hearing?
That's people are not happy about it, but let's maybe break that down about the segmentation of insurance deductibles. So a wind hail event can be separated out. It can have a separate deductible than a fire event.
Yeah, most of the time it's that way. Obviously, when the wind hail event comes, it's going to cause mass claims, right? So the entire neighborhood is going to have some issues, and so it's the most likely thing to happen. And in order to keep those premiums reasonable, that deductible has been changed to a higher one. Sometimes it's the same, but a lot of times higher.
So obviously, people live on auto drive or autopilot with their budgets and don't really review things. If we're building maybe a checklist to review your insurance policy at this point, and then we'll talk about some budget items here too.
Yep.
First thing you should be looking at is deductible for wind hail event, then deductible for other catastrophic loss.
Yeah, I think so. The first thing to look at is the price. And if you do that, you're going to be in trouble. So I think the first thing you look at is the coverage itself, because I've had people switch from me, and we talked about it before, but they don't know that their house roof is on an appreciation schedule. And every year that goes by, they're going to get less and less for the useful life of that roof. Now, that will save you $800 out of $2,200 on your premium, which looks really fun. But this wind event comes through, and all of a sudden you're looking at a $35,000 roof that you must fix and replace, and you're going to get $8,000 from some companies. So I think first, do I have replacement costs? Second, related to roofs, some people don't like roofs to be patched or repaired, which is entirely common in the industry. Roofers don't like to hear that, and they don't want that. They want the whole roof, right? But if roofs weren't being able to repair it and everyone lost 2 shingles, imagine our premiums if we had to replace every roof when 4 shingles flew off. And people just, they're unreasonable a lot of times when it happens to them. But there is an endorsement you can purchase, and you and I talked about it. It's a matching roof of undamaged surfaces. A lot of companies have it. It's $250 ish a year. But if you have damage to your roof and it goes above your deductible, we'll replace the whole thing, and no one's arguing or complaining. So that's another thing to look at. But then obviously the deductibles, right? So it should, and we come back to it every single time. What is your emergency fund? How have you built it up? How is that insulating you from being able to replace the furnace? Or, if I've got a healthy one, Tony, maybe I can have that $15,000 deductible on my house and save $1,000 a year and play the game on what's the risk. So I think that's what we have to look at in order.
And I think that's where your group sets themselves apart from an online budget cutthroat operation, right? Is your the group of guys that people will be engaging with or interacting are going to be asking these provoking questions, these prompting questions about, okay, so if we're going to run a $15,000 deductible, do you have $15,000 in a cash or light cash account to budget for that? I think the other thing to look at, like you hinted at, a full roof replacement, whatever, I don't know, you guys, rider premium, like for $250 a year generally, that's $20 a month.
Yeah.
So can I
And
spend $20 more a month to not have to sweat or have the battle, right?
yeah. And then, on top of that coverage, we talked about it before, and we're talking about wind right now, but wind in Munster took out the power lines, right? When the power stopped, the sump pump stopped working. When the sump pump stopped working, you get water in your basement, and that has to be purchased as well. So a lot of people are finding out the hard way that coverage was declined. There was a conversation about it. We didn't want it because that one, if I'm doing math on it, like 30% of your homeowner's premium is the cost of that endorsement. So if you're talking about a $2,000 total annual premium, you're like $400 or $500, $600 to add that, and a lot of people shy away from that. But now they're looking at it going, "Oh my God, I got a $15,000 situation in my basement, and there's no help from the insurance company." So yeah,
And there's no help from the utility company because the other thing, right? We have battery backups and we have all these things, but when power is out for a week or more, your battery is not going to run that long.
right. And sometimes your generator won't either. I mean, I didn't even realize this, but apparently those generators, you're supposed to shut them off every day if it's going for like 6 days, so they don't burn up the oil and lose heat. People are learning how to how to maintain their generators now. But there's a
So
yeah. Go ahead.
I would say, so part of this, right, is like insurance is it's the business setup. One, it's a for-profit industry. It's not a charitable cause. But
Right.
the other part is it's risk allocation, right? So try to spread as much risk across as much as possible to keep premiums at a reasonable rate. Like if you're looking at a crude definition of it, that's how the economics of it work.
Yeah, I mean it's literally a transfer of risk, and the sad part is like it is known. It can be known what's happening when you go into situations, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to take the time, or just or want to just buy cheap and do what human nature says. But it is possible, and I think after these storms, people are going to start really pay attention to what they're buying. But it is so important to know what you got and have a strategy around it. It is not a 15-minute save you 15% thing. Like, you are making decisions that, and sadly enough, Tony, like, some people made decisions 2, 3, 4 years ago, and now they're living in a world where this storm could financially ruin somebody. I mean, we joke about things a lot, but a lot of people don't have the 25 grand, or, they're going to have to borrow that on credit. And then, you've seen what happens with that. It's just, I would say, if you learn something from this, take a minute, take an hour, answer that email where they say, "Would you like to review your policies?" They're not trying to upsell you. I promise you. At least we're not. We're trying to have you understand things so that when things happen, the call is calm. The call is, "Hey, we did that in place. Yeah, here's the process." So that's what I hope people learn from all this.
And probably a thank you for making sure I was covered the right way.
Yeah.
That's like, I think, yeah, the other part. So let's talk about how to access capital, right? To maybe do stuff like when your home is in disrepair or damaged, it's very difficult for us to get, a cash out refinance or a home equity line of credit, that type of stuff. we have to dip into renovation type financing, which is there. We're very, very good at it, but quite honestly, it's not the most affordable route to access of capital. So you do need to take that 15, 20 minutes whenever your renewal's up, which homeowners insurance traditionally renewed annually.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Spend time with your insurance agent, making sure that you understand. Ask that. Like, you guys don't shy away from a what if question, right? Like, hey, what if
No.
this happened again, right? So, what if wind event happens, a derecho comes through, and my roof's ripped apart, but not like all of my roof, right? Oh, okay, for another $250 a year, I could make sure that my entire roof gets replaced without having to haggle or fight, right?
Right.
That's how
Exactly.
that conversation goes. All
And
right, so that's
it goes beyond that, man, because like I think of, preparation is the best, and prevention's cheaper than having a loss. So, hopefully people are looking into generators and battery backups and some of those reverse flow sump pump systems that don't need power, and or hey, take a walk around your property. Like, is that tree, like, is it gonna fall on my house? Could we maybe like give a couple grand now instead of paying 15 grand when it falls? So like hopefully people start thinking about this stuff. And on that vein, as these claims predators come around, there's some stuff to talk about there. Have they knocked on your door yet? Have you gotten the text?
I've gotten text. I've gotten my Facebook and my Instagram reel, or not, whatever you call those. The ads are blowing up about wind event. Then like you see a phone number with an area code from Texas.
Yeah. And you know what? Not to be confused with the people who flood the area to help, because there are a lot of people that are driving in from all over to help with the power lines and removing trees. So I don't think they all deserve a bad rap, but just, be careful. If you see an area code, or now they can even spoof a local number, but like do a little digging. Has this company been around? Look them up. I mean, try to
Yeah.
see if there's reviews, but
So, and I think what we were talking about before, like there's companies, or I don't know, we'll call them predatory operations or deception plays, and we can maybe get that wrapped into your total bill, and that way your deductible is, for lack of a better description, buried, or we
yeah,
overcome it with some sketch work, right? That should
yeah.
be maybe number one red flag, or number two red flag.
Number one, I mean, let's be honest. Like, so these estimates people are receiving from the insurance company, they are dialed in. Everybody, they know the labor rate, they know the materials, they know they've surveyed contractors. Like, if someone's going to do the work for less, you're not the one saving money. So they are finding a way to remove that cost from their equation, which comes in two forms. They either hire and pay unskilled labor, which is going to have a consequence because maybe they don't do the work right and there's problems later. The flashing's wrong and now you got your ceiling coming in. Or two, they're just removing material from the job and or using lesser quality material, which, it's just that old thing. Like, no, there's no free lunch. There is no corners to cut. So beware of that. Make sure they're local, and just have a conversation. This is when you really need a human. Like, you need to have an agent. You shouldn't, these online 1-800, like they have no empathy for what you're going through. They're in Texas somewhere. It's just not the time to have somebody that's not a real person that's been around.
I would
It's going
just
to
say,
cost people.
yeah, so the ability, I think, not this most recent storm, but the one before. I was getting text messages before the storm even came through. Hey,
Yeah.
we'll be out in 3 days to do roof valuations, right? Because they're going to fly a drone around and look for hail damage or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
For the storm that's happening in a week, we can
yeah,
help you.
it's awesome. It's not even a hurricane either. It's an inland hurricane. I did see someone refer to this as an inland hurricane, and I think it's probably a fair way to
Ugh,
assess this one.
it
All
sure
right,
felt like it.
so we're running maybe a little bit late here. So if we're looking at, let's wrap up into the budgeting and financially attacking this, right?
Yeah.
So old adage of, okay, let's have 6 months reserve, 6 months of my expenses off to the side in a cash or cash like account. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to look at right now cutting that maybe to 3 months, and then going, what's the deductible, wind hail deductible, what's the fire deductible on my house, and going, all right, let's go 3 months plus that amount, because the probability that your emergency fund is being tapped because of one of those type of events likely higher than maybe anything else right now.
Yeah. I
Fair way
mean,
to look at it.
absolutely fair, because that number is so ambiguous, right? It's like, how much should you have? Well, what do you have to lose? And what's on the line? That's
So
what's up.
here, so we got all right. So I have $5,000 in outlay a month between everything, right? So times three is 15,000, and then I have 1% replacement cost coverage on a house that cost to rebuild's $1 million. So
Yeah.
now I need another 10 grand. So I need $25,000 off to the side.
Yes.
As I'm looking at cash flow things, like in the insurance world, there's other ways to insure around loss of cash flow as well, right? Like, you guys have like disability insurance and that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, and really, what that emergency fund is, and in some ways, it is a disability policy that you're not paying for. I mean, you're paying for an opportunity cost on what it might have made in the market, but the thing that it gives you is time. You're buying time, right? So you get hurt, you can't work, and instead of going to bag groceries that you're way overqualified for, you have time to wait and actually get a job and wait for the one that you're qualified for. So, I mean, it just keeps coming back to it, Tony. Like, if and it's just the worst. We perform the worst as Americans in saving and having an emergency fund, and that is step one. If you don't have it, it's built on a pile of sand. Like, it will all crumble. So that's where we keep coming back to. It never ceases to amaze me.
All right. So people want to, I guess, if we're trying to maybe build up emergency funds or supplement emergency funds, there's conversations to be had about other types of insurance products to maybe allow you to pay a small amount of money to
Yeah.
offset that 3 or 6 month window initially while we're building up for that, right?
Yeah, you can purchase and you can finance the lack of an emergency fund until you build it, because the if the event that you're guarding against happens before you've got that money, then we're in a bad spot. So there are so many strategies, and maybe it's not even selling something, Tony. Maybe it's, hey, you've got some money in this over here. Like, should we reallocate it? And by the way, no one's making money on selling emergency funds. I can promise you that. There's no commission for telling you to keep that money in cash. So just, I think people have that fear, like, oh, I'm gonna get sold something. Like, no, like, get someone who gives you really good advice, regardless of how the compensation works. But yeah, that's one way to do it as well.
All right. Anything else we need to add on this topic?
No, just pick up the phone. I mean, a lot of people have questions on claims, especially in our area right now. Call us. We don't care if you have a policy with us. We'll help you through it. The process is generally the same, but lean on people, talk to your neighbors, and find someone who actually cares. That's what I would say.
Amen. Amen to that. A professional that cares, as you've always indicated, your group willing to extend free advice to people in duress and stressful situations. That's something that doesn't exist much in this marketplace. My team, we're always happy to answer these questions because the next thing is, oh, well, my mortgage company said I can defer my payments for 6 months, and then you don't understand what the ramifications of that can be.
Oh
Preventing
yeah,
the
you
very
can do that. You go ahead. You can.
yeah, that's
It's a true
whatever the nature.
statement.
It's everything's possible, but you don't know what you might be locking yourself out of later on. So that's it, Adam. If they want to get in touch with you, Adam at adamismyagent.com. If you guys
That's
need
it.
me at pilotjr.com. We're here to help you guys re-strategize, review things. We spend countless hours every week going through budgets. Adam's team goes countless hours of budgeting and making sure that people are insured properly or understand the risk that they're exposing themselves to. That's the difference between just that 15 minutes to save 15% approach, right?
True that.
All right. Until next week, we're out.
Hey, there's no storms coming. I saw it. We're good.
All right.
Later.
I'm done. Cut the show.